Welcome back, folks, to Roche Reviews. Today we are going to be reviewing Avengers Infinity War. We're just going to, maybe pick it apart, kind of do a deep dive on it, and see what we liked about it, and, kind of just talk about the overall quality, I guess, of the movie, because there are so many things to talk about with this film, and there's definitely going to be spoilers. I waited, been out for 3 weeks now? So 3 weeks out. If you haven't seen it now, go see it.
There's only 4 people who haven't seen it based on the box office take so far.
Right. So, what'd you think, man?
Honestly, I actually am pretty impressed by it overall. I have a couple of gripes here and there, and it's very CG heavy, which is one of my overall gripes in different places throughout the movie.
Sure.
But, for what it is, for the experience that it is, for what they brought to the genre of superhero cinema, it's very, very different, and it's kind of a huge achievement, so I have to give them a little bit of credit.
Absolutely.
For the behind-the-scenes planning that went into this, and then the fact that it's got a spine in the way that it executes the story, I think
Absolutely, man.
They didn't shy away from things that lots of movies shy away from because they think it's going to upset the audience or whatever, and in this case, they were delivering to the audience for the most part.
Right. By the way, folks, my special guest today is Kraig Rasmussen. I totally didn't get to introduce him.
Hello, everybody.
I totally agree with you, man. I love this movie right off the bat.
Yeah.
I definitely have problems with it, which we'll get to later. But right off the bat, I love this movie, how it just opens up, picking up where it left off in Thor Ragnarok.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Exactly.
That's something that is just a great way to open up a film and bring you right back into the story. And then we get Thanos versus Hulk right off the bat. And Hulk gets cranked down right off the bat. Unfortunately.
Everybody in that scene does.
This is very true. This is very
Spoilers,
true.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They pulled off something that was very fun to just watch. I wanted to go see it yesterday, but I didn't get to because my fucking movie pass wasn't working. But I've seen it twice now.
Me too.
And I wanted to see it in 3D, but I haven't. But just the fun. So, what's that? Don't see it in 3D. Okay.
It's done. The 3D post conversion was done by 2 separate houses. One is Double Negative, who does a lot of the best post production conversion in the industry, but the other one is a name that escapes me at the moment, and I can't. Okay. I don't want to blame it on them, but it shows that 2 separate teams were on it. There are places where the 3D is weak,
and you can really tell.
Well, and part of my problem with the movie is some of the CG being just digital feeling and not having the level of rendering that we've gotten used to with War for Planet of the Apes and even Rampage. When I watched it the other day, the level of rendering on those animals was much higher than on Thanos.
Sure.
And so there are moments in Infinity War that I just they just bug me. And then when I was watching it in 3D, they really screwed up some of the background post conversion.
Just wasn't looking pieced together or really
looked like a
blurry.
Little kid scribbled it with crayons. There's a sequence where, at the very end of the movie, when all the shit's gone down, and Banner is standing there in the Hulkbuster armor.
Right.
In the background, he's like the mid ground before the actual canopy of the jungle behind him as the background. But there's little bits of rocks and weeds in front of him, and they just look like a little kid just went in there with a green crayon, and it just didn't look like they actually rendered that stuff. It was super blurry. And
so you think the funds weren't there to do the final rendering, or because they were outsourcing it to so many studios?
Well, here's a funny thing. I never thought I'd be saying this about
yes,
CGI.
I get it on my show.
Yeah, you heard it first, I guess. But typically, CG really frustrates me, and I typically like it the best when it's used fully in service of story or not at all. And in this particular case, so there's all this controversy, by the way, about the shot of all the heroes running in Wakanda and the Hulk in the background, and all of a sudden, the Hulk wasn't in Wakanda, what the fuck's going on?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, oops, can I say that?
Absolutely, yeah.
I've never had to ask that before. The thing is that they said, so the response to that controversy about the Hulk being in that shot was, the Hulk was never in this version of the movie as you know it. And they kept phrasing it that way, because I heard them say it 3 times.
Who said that? The Russos?
The writer. Or no, the Russos, you're right.
Okay.
And so because they were so specific about the phrasing of that, it led me to believe that there was some sort of remix of the story, not in late production, but in production somewhere. They went, oh my god, it would be awesome. And so what I'm trying to get at here is that in this case, the CG is maybe not as good because they found a better story. So that's what's baking my brain, because usually I want CG to service the story, but in this case I think they probably ran out of some time for rendering because of whatever they were doing with the Hulk, I'm guessing, because it seems like that story was somehow changed for a reason.
Interesting.
And it's also one of the most frustrating stories in the movie.
Absolutely, Hulk, definitely. We'll get there. But I want to stick on this really quickly.
Yeah.
Because we've seen scenes. Like there's a scene where what's his name? Hulk, or Bruce Banner actually is talking to Black Widow, and he's sitting next to the Hulkbuster arm. Do you remember that scene in the trailer?
No, I don't remember that in the trailer. I didn't. I guess I wasn't looking for it, right? So.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. I'll put it on. So when we watch it back, you'll see it.
Okay.
So they definitely changed a plot somewhere with Bruce Banner. There's a lot of scenes that were put out there, or we saw in a trailer that were definitely not in this film. Right.
Well, and there's another change with Bruce Banner, or a missing piece, which is that Thanos embeds him in some rock. He phases him into the rock, and then later he's just standing there out of the rock.
Wait, who gets phased into the rock?
Banner in the Hulkbuster armor.
Right.
When they're in Wakanda.
Right.
He runs at Thanos, and Thanos is like, just pushes him into the rock. Right. And that's the last time we see him until he's standing in the back.
Right.
So, or maybe he's even fighting after that, but they never explain how he gets out of the rock. So I feel like there's just these little missing pieces or some changed ideas, and overall it doesn't falter too much.
Sure.
But I think over time that's going to be a thing where we're like, what's going on with this?
Yeah, and and hopefully they resolve that in the next movie.
That's why I'm saying I think they're doing something where they've got to be, because
I really hope so.
It's bugging me
totally
a little bit. So
yeah, I really hope so as well. That's the only reason, I guess, why they would do something like that and make it all weird and funky.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was at a party. Quick story, folks, and they haven't seen the movie yet, and she overheard somebody say, talking about it, saying, the Hulk's a bitch, this and that. And I thought that was kind of funny, but then I rewatched it after she told me that story, and I was like, you know what, he kind of is, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
But that's just the way the Russos or whomever wanted to produce this character in this fashion, I guess, or set him up for something. So.
Well, they said that basically their explanation was that the Hulk wants Banner to do his own dirty work, because the Hulk's always doing Banner's fighting, basically. Okay. So Banner needs to learn to stand up for himself.
Got it.
Which is fine, and I guess it explains Mark Ruffalo's kind of troublesome performance, honestly. I think he's a little annoying as Banner. And it seems like
Tony!
It's
just like, bro!
And I think what they're doing is that he was stuck as the Hulk for so long in Ragnarok, because it seems like in Ragnarok, that's when he's weird and kind of he's constantly really awkward now, and he's really shifty and stuff, and I just kind of feel like...
That's so funny.
As far as directors and actors are concerned, we talk about levels and toning it down or bringing it up, and I think this was a tone it down moment. And again, they're going somewhere, and that's fine. And Ruffalo's a great actor. I actually have loved him in certain movies, but I'm not loving him right now.
Totally, 100%.
So
agree.
I want them to fucking make a decision and do something cool with the Hulk, because they're playing it too safe.
Stop putting him in Tony Stark's clothes, please.
That too. The joke is done.
Right.
One time was good.
Yeah.
It was hilarious when they introduced it. Are these Tony's clothes?
Right.
And that's fine. That's all we need, right?
Right.
But so anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I'm frustrated in general. I want my Hulk movie. I think they're playing it too safe. People would 100% go to see that movie, and I feel like
a Hulk movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't. Well, they don't have the rights to do it, so
because Universal still has the rights.
Right.
But they are still kind of sidelining him a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being too complaining about it.
No, that's all good, man. we could hop off a Hulk real quick. I think
Let's do it.
The stones in general. I love some of those scenes where Thanos goes to get some of these stones.
Yeah, they had fun with that.
Yeah. the Reality Stone was kind of something that always
I
sticks
think
out.
that might be my favorite.
Yeah, it always sticks
The
out.
fucking spaghetti mantis.
Yes, yes, and the blocked out
Yeah,
tracks.
and that's
or
straight out
whatever.
of the comic.
Right.
So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm kicking myself for selling that trade paperback that I had years
Oh,
ago.
no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, all of it. I read that story a bunch of times when it came out. It was pretty epic when it happened. Just ironically, or maybe not so ironically, it's almost the same scope. Like, the impact that this film is having is the same impact that the crossover of Infinity War had. It was a very successful crossover at the time.
Sure.
So, I mean, Infinity Gauntlet, excuse me. So.
Right. I mean, I think with this film, it sets it up very well for the next things to come. But I think overall, I agree with you with the CGI. You know, in just the regular 2D, some of those background scenes look a little bit blurry to me with Thanos. Maybe in the Soul world, you know, when he sees Gamora as a kid. Some of that was done really well. Like when he wakes up out of the water, and that flips.
Cool.
That was a great. I think that was really, really cool. But prior to that, some of it just didn't look too spicy. If you know what I mean, too crispy. Like, and at this point, in 2008, I thought we had that.
2018.
2018. Right.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I really feel like
There's no
we should be.
excuse almost,
Yeah, we should be there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like Thanos' thugs, you know, like they looked pretty good, but they still look like digital movie characters.
They were fun.
Yeah, but they were fun. I'm just still struggling with this. Like, if we're gonna do digital characters, they need to be up to a certain level of rendering, or I am still in a remove.
Right.
You know, the Uncanny Valley is like we've defeated it a few times, or they in Hollywood have defeated it a few times, but.
So much work in rendering, I guess, but like, I mean, okay, so they did Thanos well because they had to. They had to put so much effort into his face and all that.
Movement bugs me.
His movement, which
he's very like floaty. He almost looks like he's doing like a reverse moonwalk. Like he's
really?
Walking, but like a lot of times his feet seem to be kind of like rolling on the. I don't know, man.
And like in what scenes?
Pretty much all the time. Like the whole time, I've seen it twice, and both times it just kind of felt like his movement felt a little floaty and ungrounded, and that's the thing about CG that bugs me, you know.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm a martial arts movie fan. Like, there's no CG in the best of those, and well, maybe occasionally, but like for the most part, you get to see stuff on the ground. You get to feel the weight of things, see how it impacts things.
Right. It's people. Yeah. People. Choreography and
but I mean in general I just think it's so grounded so that when I have to watch stuff that's so chock full of CGI, it's like I did get a little bit lost here and there. You know, but I will tell you, like the final shot where Thanos just sits down and goes, you know, I thought that was awesome.
Right.
You know, so what they did was they conquered the Uncanny Valley problems that are there with a great performance.
Sure.
Like I think they got the face.
Sure. Right, they got the face.
You know, but there's still the lips and the teeth thing doesn't quite always, you know what I mean? There's things that aren't just, you know. Anyway.
Sure. I mean,
go on.
No, no, thanks, man. I really feel that they should do the same amount of work that they did with Thanos on the rest of his goons.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, Ebony Maw was probably the best rendered in the face.
Probably because his face was less human looking, maybe? I don't know. Like, because the girl played by Carrie Coon, who's from The Leftovers, she was bugging me, but her performance was great. So it was like, oh, this is really bugging me so much.
Right, because you can't connect.
And also, honestly, just that like skin-tight digital costume look that they had. The reason the big rock guy was the coolest looking and Ebony Maw was the coolest looking is because they had some layering of fabrics and armor or whatever. And so I just she was distracting me because I felt like she could have been a really strong character. And again, the drama works, but I did get just slightly pulled out every once in a while.
Totally.
So,
are you a Spider-Man fan at all, or like, how do you relate in any way in the comics or stuff like that?
Other than being called Spidey in high school as a nickname because I read comic books, and did climb on some stuff. I have a Spider-Man coffee cup that I carry around everywhere and get lots of compliments on because it's awesome.
Nice.
And I read a lot of Amazing Spider-Man in a couple of different incarnations. Most recently, the J. Michael Straczynski arc that was the sort of animal totem Spider Island stuff. That was more than 10 years ago now. Like, I'm way behind on Spider-Man, frankly.
Sure,
I'm way behind on superhero stuff because I pretty much am out on superhero comics. I'll still see the films, but
Totally.
the comics are fairly repetitive at this point. I'm not finding freshness in that reading experience, but I have a lot of experience with Spider-Man.
Awesome.
So
for you to see him on this big screen with all these other characters, you know,
they're doing him better than most.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the extra spider legs, even though that makes him have 10 legs, which was bugging me when I watched it this time. I was like, spiders have 8. Like, why are there 3? Anyway, you know, but he looks awesome, and that kid is a great natural acrobat, and he's very charming and funny, and you know, he really fits the role. And I like the relationship with Tony Stark. You know, the father-son relationship is cool.
I do really enjoy that as well, man. That's what I was gonna say. You know, seeing both of them together. You know, seeing him help this kid out and kind of be his mentor, because he never had one in previous movies.
No.
All these other Spider-Man movies, you know, Tobey and whatnot.
He always had to figure it out by himself and be all broody and shit.
Right, when, you know, in the comics,
Yeah.
they actually hooked up.
Yeah.
Or not hooked up, but, you know, got together like many...
Yeah.
Like many other characters, you know, they team up and shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing the X-Men and Avengers get together and take on some...
Gonna be a while, but yeah, it seems like it might be happening. I mean, that was one of the statements the Russo brothers made, is that they might want to do something like Secret Wars next.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think what they're alluding to is that it took them 10 years to set this one up, and it's probably going to take them 10 years. Yeah, because, I mean, at this point, that deal hasn't actually gone through.
Sure.
So it might go through, but there is actually some competition. There's some government pressure for it to not happen. So there's some weird things happening where maybe it won't happen. You know what I mean? So they may never get the rights back to the X-Men, or they may get all of them back, and there might be a total cavalcade of X-Men products. All I know is that Fox hasn't changed direction on the X properties. All they're doing is beefing everything up. They're doing reshoots on New Mutants and
X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, you know about that.
So
Dark Phoenix is not happening this year, folks.
Yeah.
That's going to be next year. I got pushed because...
It's fine with me. They can go ahead and recast the roles.
Recast the roles, push it back, you know, get it right, get it nice, you know, get it tight, and then release it. You
Let's
know
just
what I mean?
Kevin Spacey this shit. And
Oh, man.
no, I think Kevin Spaceying is different. This is We're going to Christopher Plummer it, where we're going to replace Kevin Spacey.
There we go.
Yeah. So no, I'm looking forward to whatever the future is of the X characters, and I hope that they, you know, with the momentum that Marvel has, I hope that they are able to actually kind of nudge that into play sooner than later.
Sure.
You know, but my thinking is it's going to be Fantastic Four first. That's the first thing we're going to get, and then
that makes sense.
You know,
that makes sense.
Because it already reverted, so they're going to do something with it, and it's possible that if there's time travel involved in the sequel to Infinity War, via Captain Marvel and her film, that somehow the time travel resets things, so that the Fantastic Four and Captain Marvel could have always existed in this cinematic universe.
Wait, what resets things?
So Captain Marvel takes place in the 90s, according to Kevin Feige, and he also said, this is like 6 months ago that he said this about Captain Marvel. This is before Infinity War ever happened to us, right?
Right.
So because the stinger at the end of Infinity War, spoilers, is for Captain Marvel coming to save the day in part 2.
Yeah, no. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been 3 weeks. What the fuck have you been?
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing with
your
life?
Exactly. Seriously, loser. So if in fact it's set in the 90s and has time travel and somehow
that's how it resets.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is I'm not really sure. So what's that going to mean? Is this whole adventure going to happen again, but Captain Marvel is a part of it?
Oh my
or
God.
is I don't know. So I'm very curious to see how they play this out. But any way, shape, or form, having the Fantastic Four in the Marvel universe will kind of do what Guardians of the Galaxy did, which is enabled it to be kind of cosmic and science fiction-y, but on Earth within the context of the other characters. Right? So New York City science fiction setting. And I'm waiting for that, because that has not been done correctly for the Fantastic Four, and the thing that is lacking for me in Marvel is science fiction, and that's why I like Ant-Man kind of starting to like it more and more.
Right.
You know, because I'm like, okay, first of all, it's a heist movie, a science fiction movie, and an awesome comedy.
Right.
You know,
right. With a proper comedian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As the lead, not just
well,
some guy who we're trying to make funny. Well, yeah, Michael Pena as well.
Michael Pena just fucking stealing every single scene that he's in. It's like, excuse me,
he's
I'm going to take this.
Yeah, probably steal the next one as well.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like he's definitely a part of that movie.
Totally.
If you know, if you don't like him, you won't enjoy those movies.
Exactly.
You know,
100%.
So
I love him, but I hate Michael Douglas. I'm just kidding.
So many good things to look forward to in Marvel. I was going to ask you about Deadpool 2. I heard something about their end credit scene being something kind of big for the. Have you not heard anything about this?
I think that was like an article today or yesterday, right? I saw like a headline pass by
a couple days ago or something.
Yeah,
like
I've been on the road for the last 5 days, so I'm kind of like just like
you're like, what?
I know some stuff is happening in the world, but I don't know what it is.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so it has something to do with the MCU.
Possibly, or just some type of reveal that is massive, that might correlate.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well,
so it might be rumors. I'm not saying it's 100%. It's just
I mean,
something good to look forward to.
I'll tell you one thing about Deadpool and rumors, though. Every rumor about that movie has turned into something. Like, that movie was a rumor before it happened.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Ryan Reynolds himself was sort of like the rumor smuggler, if you will.
Sure,
like, nobody wanted that movie to happen, and he was like, well, first of all, I'm going to show this footage that nobody wants you to see, and then everybody's going to freak out about the footage. And then it's just sort of like...
it? I don't know.
You know, so...
It wasn't me.
Yeah. I'm just Canadian. I don't know anything.
I don't know how American media works.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, overall... What is it about Infinity War that was your favorite, I guess?
I mean, obviously, just seeing so many characters together, like when you see Spider-Man and Tony, and Doctor Strange, like when they go up to that space scene to take out Ebony Maw, that was kind of cool. You know, just to... then obviously when they're all fighting Thanos at the end, you see all these characters together. The Doctor Strange shit when he tried to get off all his tricks. Like, I really enjoyed that, even though none of them worked. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, it was pretty cool just to see him try to just pull out all the stops and get cranked down. But he knows something that we don't know, so that is kind of cool as well.
Yeah.
So
speaking of roles, we could recast.
Doctor Strange, yeah.
I can't stand him as... I mean, he's like one of the most interesting actors, and he's so uninteresting as Doctor Strange, and he looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
He looks ridiculous.
Oh,
I just can't... when he was... The final moment that he and Thanos had, I was like, ugh.
What was the final moment?
It's the moment of, like, maybe my Avengers or something, and he's like doing all the hand stuff and like standing there kind of facing Thanos one-on-one, and they're kind of like quipping back and forth, and I just was just like, no, dude, you are not right for that. I don't care for the movie Doctor Strange very much.
Sure, yeah, we talked about
I think it's Iron Man and Inception, kind of like a rip-off. I mean, obviously they can rip themselves off all they want in terms of the structure of the movie. If they want to copy Iron Man's structure, that's more power to them. It's their movie, but like... I just didn't feel like it was that fresh, and I don't like him as Doctor Strange. I just don't. There's somebody else who's American, maybe, who wouldn't have such an awkward fucking accent.
That's another one of those things where if you don't like, I guess, well, you do like the actor.
I like him.
You just don't like him as Doctor Strange. That's really interesting.
He's terrible. I mean, his American accent's awful. It is so stilted and just fake sounding.
I can definitely agree with you on that.
I don't know. I just can't.
I hear Hugh. Sorry, I cut you off. I hear Hugh. Is it Laurie? No, the dude who House. I hear his voice when in English, like American English.
Yeah, he sort of had that accent too, but he got away with it.
Yeah,
that show's kind of.
The first time I watched Doctor Strange, I thought it was a voiceover.
Yeah.
Done by Hugh. Is it Hugh Laurie?
Hugh Laurie.
Yeah. I swear to God, I was
awesome.
Like, that's not his voice.
Benedict Cumberbatch is the young Doctor Strange. Hugh Laurie's the old Doctor Strange.
Right.
We hired 2 British actors to play one American character. Yeah.
Yes, dude.
No, man. I don't know. Like, what the fuck? Why can't we just find an American guy? Like, I don't understand. Like, there's just no authenticity. For some reason, I don't know. I just can't.
So crazy.
I just can't get behind that one. Like, it's starting to become.
Too bad.
Like, I really don't like Age of Ultron. It's maybe my least favorite.
Talked about that, yeah.
But I'm almost putting Doctor Strange there too, because I'm just kind of like, I tried to watch it a third time. I got through 2, but even the second time I was like, oh, this is not very good.
Right.
And the third time I turned it off.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being picky. I am definitely fatiguing on this stuff a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
but I don't know. There's just something
some characters that don't grab you.
Yeah.
Just don't grab you. That's just, there's no way to force that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, look, I mean, Captain America should look dumb, but Chris Evans looks awesome. In all three of the movies as Captain America, they pull it off somehow.
Yeah.
And I feel like Doctor Strange should also look dumb, and it does.
Interesting. Right.
You know what I mean? But actually, that's a character that you could do just a little tiny tweak on in terms of the comic book costume and make it, like, which they kind of tried to make it real world-ish, like more of a practical outfit. I'm going on about this, I realize.
Sure, no.
But, like, I just think that there's a version of that character that's just, like, 25% more on the money. You know, and this one's just enough off. It's not 100% off. It's just enough off that when I watch it, I'm just like, ugh. It's like just one of the few roles they've miscast. They've really been pretty good across the board.
I rewatched it kind of recently with my sister, and then right after we watched Spider-Man, and we both enjoyed Doctor Strange
more than Homecoming.
Yeah.
Really,
there was just more to it. It seemed like watching them back to back. It seemed like it was, but I like both. You know, what I mean? But me rewatch. It was the second time I seen Homecoming, and I didn't like it as much as I liked it the first time. I was like super juiced the first time. There was not enough, I guess, action for me.
Wow, I really liked it. The second time I like it even more.
Really?
Yeah, partially because that John Hughesiness is so strong. Like it's. Because here's one of the things.
It's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't think it's terrible. Well, there are many scenes that I really like about it.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, I know what you're getting.
I did a whole.
I'm just surprised that you like Doctor Strange more. I guess. Cause
I mean,
I think there's
just
less to
when you run them tandem. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just feel like there's less to hold on to with Doctor Strange on an emotional level, and that's kind of my problem with it because the basic story is so similar to Tony Stark's story, and then once he becomes Doctor Strange, he's so fucking uninteresting.
Right.
Well, he's more fun when he's an asshole. That's why Tony Stark is more fun, because he's still an asshole. And once Doctor Strange learns his lesson and gets his powers, he's just stiff as fuck. And like I don't.
Interesting. I don't get. But
that's what I mean. Is like okay, so like this really maybe what my problem is. Here's my problem. So when you watch martial arts performed in films. I'm not talking about kung fu movies again, but like. When you watch martial arts performed in films, there's a very naturalistic version of it where somebody's clearly very good at it, and there's a very stiff presentation of it that's obviously a false interpretation. Like
I get it.
Like Larry Fishburne, for instance, in the first Matrix, is really stiff doing martial arts. He's not bad, but he's obviously not a natural martial artist.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Or even the fucking Cobra Kai. You watch, I just finished watching Cobra Kai. You watch Ralph Macchio do martial arts, and you're like, this dude's not a natural martial artist. But then you watch William Zabka, who plays Johnny, and he's obviously a lifelong talented martial artist, very light on his feet, fluid, natural, and there's never a point where he hits a pose where you're like, great pose, bro. And that's my problem with Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange when he's facing off with Thanos, and he does these kind of like pseudo Asian poses for his mystical arts. I am just it bugs me.
Interesting.
Like on a real deep level, and maybe it's because of that, but it just doesn't feel like he's actually spiritually involved. And I guess that's my problem. Is like I know that's a fake. It's bullshit. It's a movie.
Well, not only spiritually involved, but he's not martial arts trained either.
Well, it's not martial arts, so it doesn't need to be that. But what I think I'm looking for is an actor who has like Viggo Mortensen, for instance. Yeah. Like I'm not saying he's the guy, but like if you look at that guy, there's just something mystical about that guy. You know, that's the first person that came to my mind. But like, I'm just
okay. You think if they recast,
like as Aragorn, he's supposed to he could have just been like a Robin Hood type of guy as Aragorn, but there's something really deep about him as Aragorn, and in every other role he's played, in my opinion, I think he's a great actor. So, I'm just trying to say, something with some like quiet power that's not stiff. Instead, it's like loose and realistic about his presence in the world. And I just don't feel like he does that. So. Thus endeth the sermon on Doctor Strange. But I feel like maybe we've skipped over some of the movies, so I want to make sure that we haven't we've touched on whatever you want to touch on. So.
What was like your main part that you walked out like that part was really dope? I love that. That's what I want to see more of from these Avengers movies.
That's a good question, actually, because I don't know that there was any one thing where I was like, about this movie.
How do you feel about Gamora? How about I ask you about that?
It is the best performance that she's ever given in her career. I typically can't stand her, actually. She's like the Lady Keanu Reeves, but early in his career, when she has trouble delivering dialogue and enunciating and not being a valley-sounding girl to me.
In these movies?
No, in general.
Just in general.
Her
Okay,
as Uhura.
Let's stick to this
movie.
movie.
I know. I'm just saying, so I'm just giving you my where I'm coming from with her.
Gotcha.
Is like her as Uhura is a huge miscast, in my opinion. And I've Uhura in Star Trek.
Oh,
she plays
got
Uhura.
it. Got it.
But,
Star Trek, yeah.
But I have not had a problem with her in the Guardians movies. I think she's fine.
Okay.
But in this movie, I thought she was fantastic.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying...
So she's gradually getting there to where...
No, this was like not gradual. This was like, she's okay, she's fine in Guardians 2. She's amazing in Infinity War.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's been...
I think these directors somehow got something different out of her. She's not unfun, you know? She has some kind of good comedy in the Guardians movies, but there's just something about her that I don't buy.
Interesting.
You know? And so in this, none of that was there.
How'd you feel about that death, though?
Rad.
Yeah.
Real good. And also, I love how she didn't see it coming.
Totally.
So the audience is like, oh hell no.
Right.
She's like, haha, he doesn't care about anything. And I was literally the guy in the audience was like, that ain't true, bitch.
Right. So he said that?
I said that. Dead silence. I was the only guy that said that.
Shit.
There was another guy who kept saying stuff. So I was kind of like in this, you know, it gets you in the mood where you're like, well, if he's talking shit the whole movie.
Right. Where'd you go to see it?
It was the IMAX in Phoenix near my house.
Okay.
I saw a 3D IMAX.
That's fucking
Thursday night opening. It's pretty
yeah.
sweet.
How do you
Pumped
think?
audience.
Yeah.
Pumped. It was so nice. That was one of the best things about it.
Yeah. Being in that theater with other people who are digging it just as much as you. Yeah.
I guess overall for me, I just it's like the overall structure of the story. You know, the separated teams.
How they dealt with so many characters.
Yeah, how they dealt with so many characters for sure. I guess honestly, it's still going to be the Guardians stuff. The Guardians and Thor stuff was awesome. Like anytime the Marvel Cosmic or Marvel Space stuff is happening, I'm in. Okay. I'm all in on that stuff. I'm such a science fiction nerd.
Totally.
You know?
Speaking of which,
thank you.
The artist of this amazing piece here is this guy right here. You did this with pen or?
Yep, that's pen and ink.
Pure pen and ink, folks. That's really cool. I got that as a little gift from my friend here, Kraig, and it's just I'm a huge fan of sci-fi stuff as well.
Yeah.
The Guardian stuff, speaking of that, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I did not like a part of that, which was Peter Dinklage as a huge giant.
His performance isn't great, is it?
It's just kind of strange off top to make a small person,
I don't know, but
a dwarf. I mean, and I liked it at first. I liked it at first because it was like, oh, it looks like he's a giant,
right?
And compared to Thor and Rocket.
Well, but it's pretty true to the comics, because the thing is, like, he looks like a Jack Kirby drawing, and he looks like that character.
Interesting.
So like, I didn't like it the first time, but the second time I was like, no, I guess I'm in, because Dinklage I think was like having a great time with it.
Sure.
He's heavily brooding when he's playing the role, you know, like
he pulls off pretty much everything.
Yeah, he's fun, but
it was just strange when they cut back to some of those scenes of him, and it doesn't look like he's a giant anymore. It looks like he's actually his regular size.
Really? Okay.
That's what I saw with my eyes. You know what I mean?
Is it when he's by himself?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no scale.
Right.
That's
where they fucked up. Right. They didn't put some type of scale to make me see him as a giant.
I mean, I wonder how they could have. I mean, all the tools were the same size around him, but like we don't know what those are other than in that movie. It was
dark. It was very dark. It was just kind of him.
And because Rocket,
shadows.
Rocket and Thor both left. Like nobody was there for. Yeah, so it's almost you need like a third character there, so there's some scale.
Right.
That's interesting. I didn't notice that.
I did for some reason.
Okay. It's fascinating.
But yes, other than that, the space stuff was really dope. Introducing the Guardians with their feel coming in.
Totally. Well, and James Gunn wrote that stuff, thankfully, so that it was just spot on.
Yes.
And the whole like it's like a pirate had sex with an angel, like, and they're just like falling in love with Thor. It's just the funniest scene, man. Peter Quill's so jealous. It's like the best.
They played that very well.
Yeah, I mean he's. I have to admit that one of the things I've loved about Peter Quill throughout is that they're doing such a great job of him kind of being stuck at that teenage level where he doesn't totally understand human interactions better than he did when he left Earth. Like he's dealt with people, but he hasn't dealt with human people that much. He's clearly still really rough around the edges emotionally.
Earth people, right.
And so like he gets super jealous and competitive with Thor, and he starts copying his voice and stuff. It's like, you know, you move not like that. It's just like so ridiculous. You know, it's like only fucking juvenile would act like that.
Speaking of that, totally. There's so many jokes in this movie.
Yeah.
If you do not like the cheeky, quippy Marvel movies, you're not gonna like this movie.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's just packed and loaded with it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, unfortunately, you know what I mean? Depending on who you are, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people have trouble with that. A lot of people have trouble with the jokes on jokes. And
really?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of do a little bit. That was one of my problems with Doctor Strange. Is that there's his cape hitting him in the face, like just always trying to be funny at every turn. And that's kind of their MO now. That's what Marvel does now, with this MCU stuff. It's like every scene has to end with a fucking joke. And
it's weird. Well,
I don't particularly like that.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just like a weird moment that they're having. Because first of all, I think this movie is, it's very heavy subject matter, obviously, and so I think they balanced it fairly well. I do think there's maybe a couple of jokes on top of jokes.
Okay.
Like, there's jokes that you miss because the audience is laughing, so it's like you could cut down on those probably a little bit or something.
Right.
Or put something else there, or let it breathe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at the Captain America movies, the first one's funny and moves into dramatic. And the second one is straight dramatic. There's some funny moments. Like, the opening's funny with Falcon. On your left, I think he's passing him. He's like,
Oh yeah. But I love that. I love that introduction of Falcon in that. In that.
Oh, dude, their relationship's awesome.
Yeah.
Like the building of that. That's my favorite Marvel movie. Hands down.
Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hands down. It says a lot about our country and society,
totally,
and us as people, and examines heroism from a different standpoint.
And it's a great action movie.
And he's a man at a time in that movie, so it's examining all these things that he's
trying
to learn
still.
to understand. But
right.
That has an interesting metaphor because of our technological advance happening so fast.
Right, and Avengers was before that,
yeah.
So that takes place after.
Yeah.
What you said? Our technology.
Well, I'm just saying that,
was advancing so fast?
But him trying to catch up, it mirrors how, like, a lot of people in society are trying to catch up, or even our own society itself is trying to catch up with how quickly technology has advanced. Jobs are disappearing. Nobody can keep up with entertainment or news. It's just like,
good,
so
representation.
And it doesn't say it explicitly, but I feel like that is one of the smartest. Undertones. That's got to be the smartest superhero movie that there is.
Interesting.
It's just like, it's got so many
Go
levels.
Go see Winter Soldier if you have not seen it.
Yeah.
Great film.
But I was just, I'm sorry to get off on that tangent. I love tangents.
No, it's okay.
I love tangents. But what I was going to say is that when you watch Civil War, and Civil War is deadly serious too. So like in the Captain America movies, it starts light and it just gets damn serious by the end. Like that final fight when he drops his shield with Tony on the ground in Civil War.
Oh yeah, Civil War. Yeah.
That's like every time I've watched that, and I think that's a great movie, and one of my favorite things in it is the airport battle. But the airport battle kills the gravitas of the rest of the movie for me. Like, it's too much of a comic book superhero fun. Like, let's see them all. Let's all have all the toys fight, kind of thing.
We had to do that.
But then they have this deadly serious confrontation at the end where we find out Winter Soldier killed Tony's parents, and so he's like
the 2016
he's got to defend his buddy.
Yeah,
which I love. I love that sequence in the end, especially when like Baron Zemo doesn't get to kill himself because Black Panther sneaks up on him and fucking stops the bullet at the last one. He's like, no, you're gonna pay for your crimes, bitch.
Sure.
So in general, like, they're doing, and it's my favorite arc in general is those three films, I think, above all. And
Winter Soldier, Civil War, and
the first Captain America.
Oh, the first Captain. Okay.
I love because
I need to rewatch that. It's been a while.
It's because of how perfectly on tone it is from the moment it starts throughout. Like the whole skinny kid getting beat up, I could do this all day thing, and how fucking perfect the CG looked in that.
Right.
It looks great.
I've
seen it a bunch of times.
I love how they brought that back in about 3 different movies.
And they bring it back in Civil War really well. Yeah.
Civil War. Yeah.
And obviously Thanos.
So
and,
satisfying.
So yeah.
Speaking of Captain America, it's just that's for me a comic or a character that I've never cared about at all. And Chris Evans had made me care about this guy.
That's what I was saying. He should be a ridiculous character, but that guy is bringing it. I mean, that guy,
like,
his whole career...
He has me totally, not involved, invested in this Captain America character.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it's very just well done. And that's what he needs, sorry to cut you off.
No.
What's his name? Killmonger.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan needs to go to the same acting coach that Chris Evans went to. That was my thing that I said on the Black Panther review.
Again, dialing it down, or
I don't know what Chris Evans
didn't bug me at all.
Did not?
No, I think Michael B. Jordan's great.
I think he's great as well.
Yeah.
I think he's great as well.
I mean, as Killmonger, I just saw it.
I think he's great across the board.
Yeah.
I mean, this makes me. I don't know why the Fantastic Four went into my head, but he wasn't the problem with that movie. There were
so many.
There's so many other problems with that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing that he's really been in that bothered me, other than some of the dialogue in the Black Panther movie. So I was just like, okay. All right, you know, it was good. It was good, but it was just, you know, it could be dialed in a little bit more on the acting drama side, like how Chris Evans somehow.
Well, one of the things that's interesting about Chris Evans as Captain America is he's so
just
quiet.
More, right?
Because like if you watch his other movies that he did before this, he's not quiet. Like, watch Scott Pilgrim, and he plays this professional skateboarder who's turned action hero actor guy, and like he is so animated as that character. Or in The Losers, when he has this like my favorite building infiltration scene of all time, where he's singing a fucking song by Journey and making everybody super uncomfortable.
Right.
That's how he infiltrates a building, but he's just so big usually, and in these movies he's so quiet, and it's weird because that's why. Like, I mean, physically I was like, oh, totally, the guy who played the ripped ass Human Torch would totally be Captain America. Look how blonde and ripped he is. He's perfect. He's got blonde blue eyes, and he's exactly the comic book version of the guy.
Yeah.
But I was like, he's too funny though. Way too funny. Like, how are they gonna fucking do that? And then bang, they found a way to channel the funny.
Right.
But they really toned down.
He's not a funny guy.
No,
he's not, and that's why
Steve Rogers is not funny.
This is what I love about Captain America. He's like he has this little chip on his shoulder almost. You know what I mean? He's not for the game.
Well, he's also
you know
super
what I mean?
polite.
I love it.
He's also super duper polite.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why he's not
a
funny.
dick. He's not a dick.
Yeah.
He's just like, I guess you're right. He's
I love
quiet, but he has like this chip, like Winter Soldier. Like, he wasn't trying to trust Nick Fury and all
not
this
at
shit.
all.
Like, he's like that's where the whole Hydra thing went down. Yeah, so rightfully so. Like,
Even
he's not about the
Avengers.
secret. Yeah, exactly.
He's like, this shit's taking too long. Searching through the computer files, and he started looking around the ship, and he found all the weapons he was looking for. You know, he never trusts anybody, and I love that.
Right. So,
I mean, I love the moment I am Groot, and he's like, I am Steve Rogers. It's the funniest fucking.
It was so genuine.
Maybe my favorite moment in the movie because it's like he's just so genuine about it. You know, like I don't know, it's the best. Anyway.
So I mean, the Wakanda scene, very well done. I'm so glad we got to go back there, even though, you know, groups of people running at each other, it didn't excite me.
Especially because it was in Black Panther. We just had that in
Black Panther.
Had
exactly.
On the same hillside.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. When I see that in a trailer, I'm just like, okay, not too excited. But when it was executed, it didn't bother me.
It wasn't the core of the fight. Like, if that was going to be the final fight, I wouldn't have been interested in it. But that was only a distraction.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I see.
Like, it's like if the whole movie was like the superhero version of Braveheart, culminating on these two armies smashing together, and that was our final act.
Right. No,
I would have been out for sure. But it was just a ruse, not a ruse, but it's like they used those creatures as a distraction to get into the lab to get the stone, or to get the stone out to, you know, where Thanos would come meet him in the jungle ultimately or whatever. So I did think that it was pretty cool the way they did it. Those creatures sacrificing themselves and just ripping themselves apart, and
trying to jump through the force field or whatnot.
It was pretty cool. So I'm excited to see where this goes because they made some bold decisions, and the people that they killed beforehand will definitely make a mark. Like half of the Asgardians, so like they did some big bold things before Thanos snapped his fingers.
Yeah, totally.
And then also like
R.I.P. Heimdall, you know.
Well, but also like
R.I.P. all those guys.
For sure. And Heimdall goes out like the fucking man. By the way,
yeah, man.
I actually really enjoyed him in the last two incarnations of that character. He's so awesome in Ragnarok, like on the run, like saving everybody, all badass in the forest.
It was
and
so
stuff.
cool to see him in that movie.
Yeah, man,
and not get plucked out for whatever for I don't know, Hulk wearing Tony Stark's clothes. You know what I mean? Some other story that they could have done that, you know, I don't know.
Exactly. So yeah, ultimately, but I mean, I think they're going to kill more people in the sequel. There's no reason that they wouldn't do that because they know that it needs to deliver.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see what they do. So
I mean, I think there were some things that they could have actually committed to instead of just being like false things that aren't true in a way, kind of like the Hulk thing. Like they saw all these toys where the Hulk was he turns into the Hulk busting out of the Hulk armor.
Really?
Yeah, they saw their toys with that.
Well, maybe
so it's like, is that a distraction or is
maybe it's in part 2? I don't know. I mean,
it's possible.
Just spitballing here.
Yeah, no. I mean, I want to see Bruce get his, I guess, whatever it is, confidence or what. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, do we need to see when it comes down to a fight? Do we need the Hulk? You know what I'm saying? We actually need that.
Yeah.
Because we are fighting
I believe that I had a 5-minute tirade on that earlier. We
need
Hulk. We need more Hulk.
We need more Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear, Avengers 4. We need more Hulk.
Loki said we have a Hulk. Do we have a Hulk?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
No. It's a pretty cool movie though. Ultimately, like something this big, this bold, and this pretty.
Right.
Like most of the shots were beautiful. Like there were some really cool moments in this movie. So,
Absolutely.
So ultimately, I got to give it up because even if there's some weak points in the Marvel universe leading up to this point, a small handful. Yeah. Really small. Like less than 5 films.
Before we get to the end scene of everybody, before he snaps his fingers and the 6 Avengers are left. What else in the movie are we missing that we have not spoken about that was just really worth buying that ticket to go see it again? You know what I mean? Like what did we pretty much touch on it? We went to space. What group? Because they were all spread out in different groups.
Yeah. You know? I mean, we did talk about all the groups. We didn't really talk about like in Wakanda when
I think there's something in Wakanda.
Black Widow and what's Denai Gurira's character's name? I can never remember it.
Okoye?
Yeah. Where they're basically fighting side by side. The girl who,
when there was like a
Coon's character.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. There's some cool action beats, like where Scarlet Witch lifts up those big grinder things and like separates them and smashes all the, and the beat of Okoye being like,
exactly.
Why was she up there this whole time if she could do that? It's so great.
Right. See those type of things is what I'm talking about. After every scene, they put in a little.
Yeah. No, for sure. I know. But in that case, that one was hilarious because that's like
that one is. I'm not complaining about that.
Every once in a while,
makes 100% sense.
Those guys do this, and some other writers do this, but I noticed they do that specifically. Is that some of the jokes they have are the logic questions that you ask at the end of a beat. Like if there's an action beat and something happens, and you go, "Why didn't he just blah blah blah?" And somebody will say it as dialogue and explain it for you, but it's actually fucking hilarious because they figure out some clever way to explain it away. True. So that's kind of what that was. Is like, obviously we know why Scarlet Witch wasn't on the battlefield, but in a way, wasn't that kind of stupid strategically? Right. So that's why she's asking this.
Right. Anyway. Absolutely. Yeah, people want to know why she's not down there anyway. Yeah. It resolves. There's some type of resolve. I get it.
Did she get divorced?
It just flows.
After Black Panther because her husband was being such a fucking idiot? Is that why he's not in this movie?
I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. There was some rewriting with that character and some deleted scenes from that movie as well that really...
Oh, really? I haven't watched the deleted scenes from that.
Yeah, from Black Panther there are deleted scenes that show his character.
So you don't have to subtly pick up on the fact that they're married instead? Like,
right.
Because by the end but like for the first half of the movie you kind of have to pick up on little dialogue here and there.
Yeah, there was a couple scenes that made that relationship
she says my love
make way more sense.
Yeah. But that's interesting, And does it make his turn make more sense?
I believe so. I believe there might be one. Don't hold me to it.
That's my only real problem with that movie, even though I do.
That turn,
I do.
But I believe there is.
Believe it though, because like that one thing about Claw being the he's really upset that nobody's taking care of this.
Claw.
Yeah.
Claw. Yeah.
That's what Killmonger brings him in a bag and stuff. I mean, I like that. I like the turn a lot. So it's hard to.
Well. It was hard
to say. Anyway, not to get off track on that movie.
No,
but
all great movies to go check out.
I don't know if we're really forgetting anything specific.
I think we got everything. So how do you feel about the last 6 Avengers being or not last 6 plus some?
You mean how do I feel? What do I think? Maybe the reason would be for that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my reasoning is that it's a broken team, and so this is how they're reforged. So dramatically speaking, this is why the writers did it this way. I'm not entirely for that. Though, like, I don't know if I needed that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like the overall experience would probably reforge them, and they could have just mixed up the roster a little bit and had some fun with the way it looked. Instead.
Like you said, like a couple of them could have got taken out, and like 3 or 4 of them could figure out how to get them back.
Yeah, actually, because I fully thought Tony was going to die.
Same with me. So, speaking of death predictions, yes,
he'll die in the next one. I think maybe he and Chris, or he and Captain America are going to die. So
possibly, I believe that. Trust me,
definitely him.
I went to the theater thinking it was going to be him.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah.
And possibly just because a lot of people, like he's such a big character, and I don't think a lot of people would think he would die because he needs to be. He's like the center of the universe of the the Avengers kind of thing. So he needs to stick around for the next film. But I thought they were going to get rid of him. so I was prepared for that. So I was relieved that he didn't. And it was interesting to see that Cap is still there and the Hulk is still there, and plus a few others. And the ones that did die, like Black Panther died. Mm-hmm. So it's just interesting to see what's going to happen on the next one. Obviously, there's been leaked footage about time travel in the next one, like from the shoots or whatnot. So we know for some reason we're going to be going back to the same time with the first Avengers movies. You know what I mean? Our first movie, and Ant-Man is going to be involved this time around. So I'm interested to see how Ant-Man is going to be involved, and what's his name, who was not in it? Hawkeye. Yeah.
Oh, they found something for him to do.
I hope. You know what? There's been some predictions on the internet about his wife or his family being killed in the snap. Mm-hmm. So he comes back as.
That'd be fun.
What's the character's name?
Fun.
Yeah, exactly. Some other character who's
Hawkeye.
Not Hawkeye. And I forget his name. Tell me in the comments what his fucking name is.
Oh, he has another superhero name?
Yeah, it's a different name when he comes back because he's like not right, because his family died, so he's like this kind of more badass type of guy. I forget the name. Let me know in the comments if you guys know what I'm talking about. But who knows what they'll do with that. I think he's just going to come back as Hawkeye and figure out what to do, shoot some arrows, and
He'll probably shoot some arrows. I predict he'll shoot some arrows.
Yeah, it's possible.
You want to put some money down on that?
Yeah. What do you think about the end credit scene? I guess we should end it off with the end credit scene.
Well, I mean, it was nice to see Nick Fury back again. Maybe a tad bit wasteful, and also strange that we didn't see him until shit had already completely hit the fan. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, my friend was like,
"Oh, Nick
what
Fury.
were they doing this whole time?"
He was driving.
He's just looking at like radar footage of what's hovering over the planet or whatever, and I'm like, but hasn't this shit's about to go down in the last couple minutes of the fucking conflict? What have you guys been doing the whole time? They didn't even look like they're running.
Right, there was shit up in the sky over New York.
Yeah.
So was S.H.I.E.L.D.? Is S.H.I.E.L.D. still a thing?
No, it's not. So it's it's very much like a what's the word I'm looking for? A shadow organization now.
Okay. Do you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. How many seasons is it now? 5?
4, I think. It's 4th season, I think, and this is the last few episodes of the show.
Okay.
And apparently it has an Infinity War finale.
Oh, no shit.
Because they're talking about things going on in New York, and that there's something hovering over the city, blah blah. So
they did know about the events.
Well, and even to the extent that the last episode I watched, I'm a week or maybe even 2 episodes behind now. But the last episode I watched, a guy said, "We're not the only alien presence on this planet right now." And so they were literally saying this other shit's going on across the country, or wherever they are this current moment. But it's gotten better. This is one of the better seasons, but it's not like
the
most.
Best.
No, it's not. It's not. No, it's definitely not the best show at all. But it's also
season. I mean,
right. Well, no, it might be the best season. I guess
Okay.
It seems like it finally got its footing, but it's had some moments that were great. It does have some good chemistry between characters, but.
Nice. That'll work.
Ultimately, it doesn't connect enough to the Marvel Universe, which to me was a big misstep.
Totally. I stopped watching after season 2.
Yeah.
I don't think I got all the way through.
I think season 2 is the last time they brought anybody in from one of the movies.
There you go.
So it's like we had Sif for a minute because she was in the Thor movies, and then they decided to stop trying shit like that. But I thought that was kind of a mistake. So
totally, 100%. I agree with that. Yeah. Why not have all your have little cameos here and there from the films in your show?
Mm-hmm.
You have the properties and you've done it before.
It could just be the timing or something. I don't know. I mean, when they shoot this versus that or whatever, or this actor's out. We already finished his movie for the year and he's on another movie in another country. Whatever. I don't know. Schedules.
Totally.
Anyway, I mean, what did you think of the wrap up?
At the end,
Mm-hmm.
I loved just getting a little teaser to what's coming next. Captain Marvel being on the pager or whatnot, referencing the '90s with the little pager,
Shitty pager.
But I don't understand really why. I mean, it wasn't a huge end credit scene for me. It was just like a little tag on.
Really, I thought it was the first end credit scene that meant something, or one of the few that means something.
In what way?
Because that's it's the fucking message to have somebody save the day.
Oh, got it.
So it was the only one where it wasn't like. I mean, I love the shawarma finish, dude. The shawarma scene at the end of Avengers is my favorite thing ever.
Sure.
You know, like I just watched that recently. And it's so funny because it's just like if you've ever had a day that's so exhausting and you sit down to finally have a meal and you don't want to talk, and even if you're in a big group of people, nobody says a word. But you do kind of like nod to each other, kind of like totally. You know, but without so they just nailed that moment. You know, as far as like what those people must have felt like, superpowers 100%. Or not.
Right. You know? No, 100%.
Tough day is a tough day.
Yeah, no, that's such a fun film.
So
no, it's interesting. It meant something. Yeah, no, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's exciting, but the ramifications are certainly exciting. You know, so I guess that's how I felt about it ultimately.
Cool. Yeah. How do you feel about Captain Marvel? The Brie Larson choice of that character, the casting.
I think she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice, most likely. I mean, there's other incarnations of the character that they could have gone with that might have been better.
Such
the black version of the character.
Oh, I see.
Like, because they need to stop casting so many white people in all their roles.
Sure.
But like, you know,
it's more true, I guess.
She's from the 80s.
Just got done with Black Panther.
She has like a silver. I know, and then that might be their concern because there's like if you think about like Larry Wilmore's show, the nightly show. Remember on Comedy Central?
Oh yeah.
But it was like always black guests. Always, and he got so much static for that, and Comedy Central ended up having to cancel it, not because it was a bad show. It was a fucking great show.
Right.
It was like one of my favorite political shows ever. Larry Wilmore, you're the man, and like that show should not have gone away. Yeah. That was their fucking bad, but I can almost guarantee you that was the problem because a lot of times I would watch it and I'd be like, this is a really black show, and I know it doesn't bother me because I love what you're talking about, very vital topics, but I know people it bothers. You know, so I just think in terms of balance, maybe Marvel was like, we want to, but they're probably going to introduce the black Iron Man's replacement.
That would be cool.
Next, so they're probably doing the right things. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're probably making decisions for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to hold it against them. That's kind of what I was trying to get to. Roundabout story. So we'll see where it goes because like I think she's a great actress. And I do think she's pretty, and I think she's, obviously athletic based on Kong. Like, she's running around like crazy and keeping up with all these athletic guys in that movie, so,
Yeah.
I think it's a good choice. But also, by the way, she's not fake looking. It's not like fake Hollywood looking. She's a real looking person.
She looks like a regular person. Yeah.
So, I think that's kind of an important thing to do, especially if she's the most powerful. She's sort of like Superman, you know what I mean? That's what Superman's supposed to feel like.
Right.
And so I think they cast the right person to be the Marvel kind of super. She's the tip top of the power food chain in Marvel. So
totally,
I think they probably cast just right.
Cool. Yeah. She's going to be the one to save the day out here. One of the most powerful Marvel characters.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing what happens next as well.
Very good.
I'm sure everything will be great. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Kraig, where can they find you online?
Well, they can listen to the Storycraft podcast anywhere they listen to podcasts, and follow that on Twitter at StorycraftPod, or follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Kraig Comics. That's KraigComx. And Dave here has been on the Storycraft podcast 3 times, and will certainly be on again as well.
Awesome. You guys can find me at YouTube on YouTube at RocheReviews.com or /RocheReviews. Just type it in there, you'll find me. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Take care.